Hello, what's up, everybody? Thank you all for joining. We have a very interesting session today. Joining us today, our CTO Yonatan Adest, the busiest person at Investing.com at the moment. So thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure having you on.
My pleasure, Jesse. Nice to be here.
Also joining us today, my man Tom Monteiro, head of financial content. Happy birthday, Tom! Just had celebrated his special day. Thank you for joining us as well.
Thanks a lot, Jesse. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. We got a lot going on, obviously. Volatility in financial markets has been all over the place lately. The Trump trade, if you will, that has been emerging is to buy gold, buy Bitcoin, dump stocks, and dump the US dollar. So we'll see if that continues. Adding a layer of complexity to this all is the start of the Q1 earnings season. We have some major reports coming up with the Magnificent Seven stocks on the agenda. So obviously there's a lot going on. And, what we want to do today, obviously, we're going to introduce a new feature at Investing.com. It has been around for a couple months, but so far has only been available to a select group of users. Now we're kind of rolling it out to all our users and members. So obviously, WarrenAI, Investing.com's very own AI researcher, and we're just gonna highlight WarrenAI and how it can help us in this market environment, come up with better investment decisions, and just kind of, obviously let us know, provide further insight, if you will, from the wisdom of AI. So kicking it off, first of all, Yonatan, the man behind the product, what was your vision for this in the first place? How did this come about?
Great. So actually, I think like a lot of the world, it was really the ChatGPT release about 2.5 years ago, when all of a sudden you kind of felt this, big industry paradigm shift of how people search for data. And that was kind of the vision that we got it started with. We said, okay, for finance, users are going to want only real time. They're only going to want verified data, the better the quality, and obviously investing has the best quality. And how not only to give you like a search result, but to actually find you insightful, insights into your answer. So like gather a lot of different data and give you one insightful answer. That's where we saw the power of AI. We've been working on this for quite a while with a lot of beta users, making sure everyone's happy, that it's, giving the correct answers, all the different markets. It supports 72,000 instruments, so that's quite a challenge, and 1,400 metrics, but we're now very proud and feel like it's absolutely on the right place and it can help a lot of users.
Amazing. I've been playing with this product myself for the past couple months, and it just blows me away each time. The amount of the time consuming, something that would have taken me, an hour or two to complete, just a couple years ago. Now takes me, I don't want to brag. It takes me about a minute or two. So obviously, the amount of time that it cuts, and really does all the hard work for you. The whole point of today is really to just live, show WarrenAI in live demo. So what we're going to do today. Basically, this is it, WarrenAI. If you log into Investing.com, you could, obviously hit Investing.com/WarrenAI, and this is where you will arrive, essentially doing all the hard work for you. Now, we did share a couple tweets, and we had some users submit their prompts that they wanted to be featured during the live webinar. So we're going to do some of that right here. Basically, what you guys want to ask WarrenAI, and just live demo it. So of course, bear with us. It is a live show, so if we encounter any technical difficulties, just a sign of the times. But I think we could get things started. Everybody's talking about tariffs now. What is going on with Donald Trump's trade war? And, one of the questions that we got the most from our users is, what stocks are best for a trade war?
Yeah, actually, on that, Jesse, if I may, I was just taking a look at the backend data, which Yonatan kindly shared with us last evening. And it's really interesting because if you look at every metric that we have out there, it shows that, during this dip, institutional investors were selling, but retail investors were buying the dip massively, massively. And if you look at the questions that they sent WarrenAI, it really shows that, they were asking mostly about stock picks, where can I find stock picks? Should I buy NVIDIA stock? Should I buy gold? Should I buy this? So it really shows that, investors really intuitively already understood how to use it.
Absolutely. I think, without saying any more, I copied the prompt from Twitter, pasted it into Warren, what stocks are best for a trade war, and, send away and wait for Warren to generate the answer. Yonatan, what is Warren doing right now? As it's fetching here, like where's it get the data from?
Right. So Warren is so Warren is an agent AI. Basically, what that means is it kind of looks at your question and then builds a path of what it needs to do to gather the best information to answer, and then finally, combines it all together. So it has a different, in AI, it's called tools. So different tools from Investing.com. It's actually the first line. We kind of start sharing and showing the users what tools did it decide it most probably needs to answer your question. So it has access to news, all of Investing.com news from all our editions in all our languages. Metrics. So I'm sure another question will show metrics. It's a core part of Warren. It can screen. It has technical indicators, analysts, earning calls, calendar events, even syncs with your watch list. So basically, it starts by understanding what is it that you need. Then it really defines exactly, so like time frames, what regions, what markets, what stocks, gets everything and provides you a comprehensive answer.
Pulling up the Warren's answer here, here are some promising candidates from the screener. Provides, we have about 5 stocks here, different sectors. It provides the revenue growth rate, the financial health, a little bit more about what stocks do in what stocks perform better in a trade war. And a really cool feature that I like at WarrenAI are the follow-up questions that it provides on its own. If you would like me to analyze any of these companies, so basically I could say yes, let's dig deeper into Cal-Maine Foods, which is the largest U.S. egg producer. So if I want to dig deeper into that one, it does all the hard work for me. Let's show this in real time. I just asked Warren to dig deeper into Cal-Maine Foods, fetching the data here, and this is it right here. Very, very impressive. You can see in real time the amount of time it takes, the amount of time it saves, myself as a user. If I wanted to go fetch this data somewhere right now, very, very impressive on all fronts. Risks, rewards, strengths, performance, trade war resilience. So with Cal-Maine, for example, we do see that 100% domestic operations, no international markets really. U.S.-based egg producer. And it provides you a chart here at the end. Very interesting graph that shows Cal-Maine's revenue growth rate. Triple digit. Looks pretty good, Tom. No?
Yeah, that's actually one of the features that I like the most are the charts. I mean, Jonathan, that's even a question I have for you. Like, how does it generate, and where did that idea came from, like to generate actual charts?
Right. So actually, I think this is a great question that we also asked WarrenAI because it shows you what it does is it's a relatively simple question that you asked, right? So let's dive deeper into Cal-Maine Foods. But what it does is it understands what is it that'll really help you have a super, insightful answer. So for example, it won't just go into, if you'll go into the instrument page on Investing.com for the stock, you'll see a bunch of usually fundamentals about it. But here it's going to kind of pull everything together for multiple pages. This is really where time saving happens. I'll just add that if you compare companies, it's even crazier because that's like, you would need 20 tabs kind of and start summarizing it yourself to get into one comprehensive answer. So similarly to how it kind of guesses from all the information it gathers, being very intelligent. What is it that's going to be most insightful to highlight and show you? It also decides what charts you will do. Now you could ask, I'll say, directly for a specific metric to chart it, to plot it over time. You could ask for different time frames. It'll listen to you, but also it'll just kind of make like a smart analyst. So you'll ask a simple question. It'll say, here's what you really should be looking at. And these, it'll always change. It's always dynamic. It's also always based on what's happening too. So like the news will affect the charts. The news will affect the metrics it shows you. And we did work very hard at also allowing, very direct questions, show me EPS over 5 years of this and that, but also very broad questions and still give you insightful answers.
And how does it decide which metrics are more important, like within an analysis for a specific stock?
Right. So that's really where we give it all kind of adjustments, let's call it. So Warren has access to all our metrics, 1,400 metrics. We do prioritize, I'll say, and tell it kind of along the lines of, these are the 300 that are most popular that usually want. Now, then it could say, okay, I actually need more. This is the agent part. So it could say, actually, this is a complex question. I need to see compounded yields over time. So give me that category of metrics as well. So, to itself, and it brings it. And then it has access to everything, basically based on the context of what's happening. It'll then make its own decision into what it should be showing. So it'll change very much every day. You could ask the same question. The charts tomorrow, unless you direct it to charts, will be different charts. So if that's going up, they'll show you relevant charts to that. Things of that sort.
Jumping into the next prompt here, still very relevant to what's going on with the tariffs. So, we asked, what are the top 10 undervalued stocks? And it is ranking it by fair value upside. Again, in 10 seconds, we managed to get the very thought out, detailed answer here with 10 different stock ideas, potentially, with their fair value upside and WarrenAI's take right here. So, for example, the first option right here, Plug Power. A battery EV company, and it has 151% fair value upside. We'll talk, if you want further on that one. Crocs appears here, as well as some further, consumer staple companies, pharmaceutical names. And again, what we want to see here from Warren is it recommends or suggests to me what I want the next prompt to be, or what I want to dig deeper in here. Tom, any names right here that you like amid the current environment?
Yeah. Well, I really like Crocs. Honestly, I think it's the best one among this list. I mean, Plug Power is a complicated name right now, just because of everything that's been going on with EVs and with Tesla and just sales going down. It's very reliant on Tesla stock going up and its EV sales being up. So, and this is what is interesting, is that this is the kind of thing we can ask it as well, right? Sort of as a follow-up, like, okay, but what about considering the current market environment? Can you make a shorter list considering what's been going on, and it'll give you, an even better answer. So this is the kind of path you want to take it, just, following up until you get and it's not just what's the absolute best out there, because that answer actually doesn't exist, but what really fits your goals, right? And this is where answering and talking to it and having it listen to you can get you far. I think that's the coolest feature actually out, combining everything that you want to say. Wouldn't you agree, Yonatan?
Yeah, absolutely. And also I'll say that the screener, for example, I think is one of the best tools for Warren, because I think we have one of the best screeners in the world on Investing.com, but there's no avoiding the fact that it's relatively complex, any screener, to start defining, finding the metrics you want, what is relevant, then, searching through. And here's just natural language. And I'll add now, it's also all languages. So all of our, roughly 30 languages that we support in investing are supported on WarrenAI, and you just type as you go, and you can say, here I screen by this. Let me add. I wanted to make sure it has revenue of minimum, $1 billion a year, and boom, nothing to configure. Wait a few seconds, and you get an answer.
Now, what I like the most, for me, the coolest feature is, how conversational it is, really, because the follow-up questions, I don't even need to do the follow-up questions because it does it for me. So for me, that is, perhaps the coolest feature about this, and how it really differs from the competitors? Because Yonatan, I wanted to ask you as well. Like how does what does WarrenAI do that ChatGPT doesn't? Claude, Perplexity. There's a bunch of other AI chatbots, obviously. What makes Warren what it is?
So I'll start. The first, most obvious difference is real-time data. Most of the models, I will get in a second to like internet search, but most of the models have a training date, which by definition has to be a few months back, just because it takes so long to train the models. So any question you would ask, let's say ChatGPT, without turning on web search, will give you a very outdated question. Now, they did add, a lot of them are adding slowly. Internet search as well. But this is also where it differs quite a bit, because when you ask any model with internet search enabled, it's going to bring very little context to directly answer your question. And the same question, if you ask WarrenAI, now you don't see it in both cases, but what goes on in the background is Warren is bringing, I would estimate, 100 times more information for that same, relatively straightforward question of yours, because the design here is not just to answer EPS of Google, which of course it would answer well, but it's to really show you like trends that are happening, underlying data, things you should pay attention to as well, what analysts are saying, our pro tips. So it's kind of bringing everything and not just going to give you one very short data. Of course, the next thing is just the quality of data. So even if you go on web search, and we could all do this as humans, and you'll search for stock price, there's a chance that the first result will be correct. There's a chance it'll be outdated. For example, there's all kind of finance, related complexities. So if the stock is now in aftermarket trading, very small chance it'll actually give you that quote. It'll probably give you close of day. History, for sure, it's going to have a problem bringing you. We'll support here. We support up to 10 years, like Investing Pro. So it's just always real time, always correct, and a lot more going on, in the background, but without overwhelming you. So that's also something we worked a lot on. We're not trying to give you tons of information, because the AI, the way we see it is, you have a question that you want to research. You could go on Google and start spending hours clicking through. But we just want to give you the answer, but not the shortest one, the most comprehensive and smart one.
Yeah, it's almost like a report that a research assistant would compile for you, just without doing any of the work.
100%.
So obviously, what is going on in the market right now? Alternative assets, commodities are surging. And really one of the questions that popped up the most from our users, they want to know, what is the outlook for gold prices? So obviously, WarrenAI is not just about stocks. We're commodities, Forex, crypto, anything and anything. So what is the outlook for gold prices right now? Just hit $3,500 an ounce for the first time in history. So very, very exciting. All you gold bugs, congrats for enjoying this ride. How high will gold go? And right now, what we want to see is, in terms of fundamentals, potential demand drivers, very, very concise and thought out question, answer right here. Gold, Tom, where do you see gold going? There's so much, but, fire Trump, or Trump threatening to fire Powell right now. On top of it all, the tariffs. Gold seems to be the best investment, I think, during the Q1. Can it continue?
For sure. I mean, it's especially when we look at it from the long-term perspective, right? I think, obviously the short term is really difficult to guess. I mean, and anything can happen. I mean, obviously, as Warren is saying, the technicals are very aligned. They seem really nice. But, anything can happen. Tomorrow, the whole Powell Trump situation can just fade out. So basically, that's a possibility. But obviously, the long-term situation is what's more important for gold. And I think the outlook is, we're going to see central banks still looking to, increase gold buying, improve their asset bases. That's a sure thing for the long run, just because, debt, national debts are going to keep increasing, ballooning. And obviously, especially in the U.S. with the devaluation of the U.S. dollar, which is going on right now. So it's the macro really shows that for the next decade, you need to have some gold in your portfolio. That's a sure thing. But what's really interesting is that it's, when you look at the response that it gave for your question, it's saying all those things, right? It's saying, central bank buying. It's saying geopolitical
tensions.
It's talking about all of that. So it's talking about the technicals as well. So it's talking about short, midterm, and even long term. And you combine all those. And what's interesting about gold is that all of those are bullish right now.
I mean, we have seen this narrative being pushed out by all the crypto market participants over recent years, trying to compare it to a digital gold, if you will. However, price action, at least for now, has not really fit the narrative, with gold surging to new highs and Bitcoin kind of being stuck in this range. Which kind of leads me into this next question, because one of the prompts that popped up the most on social media, people want to know, is Bitcoin still a good investment? So the question, we'll see what Warren's take on this is. Obviously, amid the current environment, kind of diversifying your portfolio away from the dollar, away from U.S. assets, seems to be a winning, investment process, at least for now. So we'll see what Warren's take right here is. From what we see, it's always nice to have this interest in alternative assets and cryptos in particular. According to WarrenAI, there is a bit something here about Northern Trust's 2025 survey revealing almost 20% of institutional investors now have exposure to crypto assets. Mentions MicroStrategy, of course, and for the most part, I think Bitcoin in this environment is a smart and solid choice. Again, a lot of volatility out there, Tom. Where are you looking to protect your assets from all this whiplash?
Yeah. So that's a hard question. Honestly, I see most retail investors are actually buying the dip, and this is where our data shows as well. And I'm also doing the same thing, to be honest. So I'm buying the dip in U.S. stocks because I think prices are much better now than they were, just a few months back. But I think, you can find good opportunities all over the market. You can find good opportunities in, European stocks. You can find good opportunities in gold. You can find good opportunities in gold stocks, actually, which is something that WarrenAI did very well when he was asked, about gold. Is gold a good buying opportunity? And it says yes. And you can even buy gold stocks, which are an even better buying opportunity. So I think the cross asset nature.
Jumping back to that, Tom, I just want to show the viewers, because we didn't mention that, but like at the end of the gold prompt that we had there, is asking, which gold mining stocks might benefit. So
And I think the cross asset nature of the response is something really interesting, because usually when we research an asset or an opportunity, we usually tend to, focus on that asset solely, right? So we're looking at, we're looking for gold. So let me see how gold price is going to do. And what it's doing right here is just, thinking about gold as a whole, industry, which I think is really interesting. And Yonatan, that actually leads me to a question that I wanted to ask you. Is it better at stocks than at gold, or it doesn't matter which assets are we talking about?
I will say I think it is probably better at stocks, but also just because there's a lot more metrics for us on stocks, right? So there's a lot more we could do and show you and find underlying trends. I don't remember the exact number, but just on commodities alone, we have far fewer metrics than we would have on stocks. It still will be, connected, and it will know, and of course news, and also analyst outlook will often be a lot more extensive and news on stocks. But we do our best to answer everything, including like very small international stocks, right? So, or commodities or FX. Crypto is the most limited, I know, and FX from metric perspective. So there's just not a lot to work with. But then it does kind of kick in its own intelligence, where it's beyond just a real time. It'll kind of give you historical trends and all kind of information like that.
Right. And as a follow-up, is it better at U.S. stocks than global stocks, for example?
It shouldn't. It should be as good on both. With the one caveat that just on U.S. stocks often there's a lot more news. But if there's a lot of news, so that's like the news and then analyst part may be a bit better on U.S. Otherwise, it'll support everything. By the way, it's a lot of effort that we put in is actually identifying every user in every language. What stock is he referring to? So like that's also not so easy. It's not the regular search bar. We want you to just chat with it and it'll figure out what you want. And By the way, just the other thing, that's a great question, but I will say one question I do recommend showing where I think it really shows the strength is, let's say, comparing two stocks. So saying, okay, should I buy this or that? And this is kind of where I was amazed, because I'm like, okay, that would legitimately take me an hour to go and gather. Now you could also, I'll add as, you think what to write, but I would also add, this is prompt engineering, like in ChatGPT and everywhere. It's also, it exists in WarrenAI.com, and it's actually something we're always excited to see. So you could start with a very broad question, but then you could also kind of start directing it. Say, I'm actually very interested in, focus on dividend growth or different types of metrics or areas of risk, and it'll kind of lean towards that. So, and you could go all the way crazy into listing specific metrics you want, specific timeframes.
Yeah, very cool. So, we'll jump right into that because that is the next topic coming up. One of the questions, however, that did, show up a lot, we want to show, I just wanted to show the viewers here that it does Forex, assessments as well. Euro USD right now, the dollar is tumbling to 3-year lows against almost all the other major currencies. What is going on? So it's providing all the summary right here. There's there's a move away from the dollar right now due to the potential tariffs and Fed independence issues. There's of course gold relocations. So there's a lot of different different factors here that are impacting euro and the dollar and all basically all currency pairs out there. But yeah, very cool the way it provides the support and resistance levels. It does provide a little take here at the end, a summary, if you will. So basically what we showed so far is, how it does assessing fundamentals and the current market environment, how it identifies undervalued stocks and potential, investment ideas that are under the radar. We then, of course, jumped into commodities and crypto, showed a little bit about gold and Bitcoin. And, now, of course, with earnings season coming up, we have a couple of big earnings reports. Like you mentioned, Yonatan, one of the coolest features is, comparing between two stocks and their earnings. So, for example, we could show, I think, AT&T and Verizon, two names that pop up because they do report earnings this week. Two biggest telecom companies in the U.S. and in the world for the most part. And, if you do want to do a comparison between AT&T and Verizon, it's very, very simple. Compare AT&T and Verizon, potential growth metrics and so forth. And, we'll see Warren work its magic right here.
That's a difficult one. I would go with AT&T right now just because of the dividends and everything. But what I was saying is actually another feature I really like is when you ask it if it fits your portfolio. So basically, if you have a watch list, and then you can ask it to compare with the stocks that you have on your watch list and see if it's a good fit for a watch list, which is really interesting because it's a completely different thing, right? One thing is finding stocks to buy, another thing is building an actual portfolio, and that's really much harder. And Yonatan would agree with me that and I know this took a lot of development. If you could talk about it a little bit.
Right. So I agree. Portfolios and watchlist and investing is, again, a great example of just a lot of time. So you would have to you could see the change, pretty quickly on your app, but you would have to start clicking and reading and understanding what's going on. And if you just ask Warren, what's new with my portfolio this week? What's going on? All the way to more advanced questions like, make recommendations, how should am I to align in a specific sector, etc. But just also the simplest question of what's going on. You didn't see the market, you were away on vacation. What's up with my portfolio? It'll give you a really comprehensive, yet short, to the point summary of everything you need to know.
Yeah, amazing. And I will highlight that as well. Just going back to Verizon and AT&T here, Tom, look at this. Like according to Warren, Verizon beats out AT&T on almost every metric, generates more revenue, offers significantly better value. VZ nearly doubles AT&T's efficiency in terms of return on equity. Generates more cash flow. So obviously, something like this, this type of report, this type of research would have taken, a few years ago would have taken me, a few hours. And really the beauty of it right here is, just the way it breaks it down for you in terms of strengths and risks and technical analysis and, basically anything and everything that you want right here in regards to a stock or, the way you can compare between them. Very, very cool.
It just helps you surface things, basically like, for me, I was thinking that, yeah, maybe AT&T is a better buy right now just because of the things I've been reading, the things I've been looking. I'm not, an expert in communication sector anyway, but this is what I've been thinking. And now I see the prop and I'm like, okay, so maybe there's something else here to look at. So it's just surfaced a new trend that I got to look at. And then you can see everything that's at, all the metrics and the charts, which are super, super helpful again. And not just because they show, they paint an easier picture, but also because they're really helpful by themselves, which is, an important part of financial research. It's not just information, it's also charts. So this is really interesting.
Yeah, amazing.
Right.
Yep. And you mentioned the dividend yields and this comes as a surprise to me, but Verizon actually overtook AT&T in terms of the dividend yield, slightly higher. Something like this, on the surface, I wouldn't even think about, like you mentioned, Tom, it's kind of a boring sector, not really, too many sexy names. But yeah, I mean, having like this report all of a sudden presented to you the way it is, really helps, put more stocks on the potential watch list for you. And you guys did mention the watch list. I want to show you exactly how that works because it is really one of the coolest features. My watch list right here. I have a number of watch lists, obviously, but the one we'll go for is from April 2025. So if I ask, go back to Warren,
right? Yeah.
And just let analyze my portfolio, analyze my watch list.
Maybe we'll show. I think you're showing that with a different screen, but there's also on the bottom there. You see those little buttons. So there's the
watch list insight.
This is just a great example for users. It's like prompts that we prepared to help users. Get it going.
Yeah, that's actually really cool because once you get into Warren, sometimes you're just like, you kind of run out of ideas, right? It's like, so what should I ask it? And sometimes it can direct you, it can surface trends that, you can ask it and ideas that you hadn't had about your portfolio or about the stocks you'd like to buy. So this is really cool. I would suggest users explore that, firsthand, like first thing, and then, get onto the more difficult questions. But first of all, just try to explore those pre-designed questions because they're really, really helpful.
Jesse, just click April, choose your watch list that you wanted to dive into.
Exactly. Yeah. I just want to show the way that it recognizes, my watch list from Investing.com. If you have, hundreds of watch lists, all you have to do is click on the one that you want analyzed, proceed. And, right now, Warren just coming up with his magic take right here on all these stocks I have in my watch list, for the current environment. Obviously, a lot of red.
By the way, I'll just go back to what Tom said about the prompts. Also, one of the reasons we did is to help users with ideas of what prompts to ask, but also it's kind of to start showcasing prompt engineering on Warren. So our prompts are usually a little more complex, and then the user starts kind of understanding because we do, of course, show the prompt after you click it. Okay, if I add these type of if I ask it to plot charts, it'll always show me charts. If I ask it to look into specific metrics, it'll focus more on those metrics. So that's just another type of very simple, friendly training for the users to show them how to get the most value out of Warren.
Yeah, so very detailed analysis on these companies which appear on my watch list. It shows PE ratios, fair value upside, earnings and revenue potential, as well as a little take there, a little summary at the end of each stock. It does show me key insights here at the end. And if I want, we can further analyze my watch list. Which names do you think should be removed? Is something that Warren can help out with. Again, really not much effort right here besides typing in the prompt and just waiting for Warren. Really, working, doing all the hard work for you, doing all the digging, going through all the tabs that you had to go through without having to do all that really the heavy lifting. And right here is
and also what's really cool is that, once you get that answer, then you can do your own due diligence and you can look at, different metrics. You can look at Investing Pro and all the tools that we also offer with the same subscription, which is a really cool part of it. I mean, you don't have to take Warren's word for granted, right? You can actually, take a look and do your own research on top of it, which is also interesting.
Just so you forgot the one word in your prompt. I think I got confused. You didn't say which should be removed, so it's not sure what names you think removed. Then it looks like you're sure. You can press that little. You just ask it again.
Oh, we have a little. Yeah.
Exactly. And I was curious to see if it would figure it out, because that is something. Okay, this time it's confusing. There's a bunch of ways it could go. But like if you won't write the stock, or you'll write a ticker and not the exchange, or in a full name and a short name, all of that. So we do work hard to make sure it knows what you want.
Now, I can attest firsthand that when I first started playing out with WarrenAI, the way it's progressed and evolved over the past few weeks has been really, really amazing to see in real time. Really, just the way it becomes more conversational, comes up with these investment ideas, provides analysis, all these hot takes. So really, really outstanding. Very, very interesting, and an amazing tool for our users to really take advantage of the market, the volatility, and what any opportunity that arises. Right now, if you sign up for Investing.com for free, you get 10 free prompts. Obviously, if you're a paying user or a pro user, you get I think up until 500 prompts per month. So endless opportunities.
We also want to encourage the users. I mean, even if you're a free user, just go ahead and try it. You got 10 free prompts, ask whatever you wanted to you want to answer. So just, try it, see the answers, and then just play with it a little bit. Even try, the pre-designed questions, which are really cool.
Exactly. Really, so many opportunities, so many prompts, endless.
If you're a free user, the only constraint you have is the number of prompts. I mean, you can use the full feature. You can ask, whatever question you want to ask is going to give you the same answer as it gives, our premium members, but it's limited to 10 questions. That's the only constraint you have. So, go ahead and try it.
There we go.
Before we go, can I just ask Yonatan a final question? Actually, I know we're running out of time, and I know the marketing guys are telling us to stop right now, but I have one question that I would really like to see answered is, what are the future plans for Warren? What can we expect from it? I mean, it's going to become, more intelligent as we use it, right? So what should we expect from it?
So the one ongoing, advancement that I'm sure users are going to see constantly throughout the year is going to be more information and more tools. Like, for example, calendars, IPO calendars. We just added basically, I think, last week. So this is just ongoing, connecting it, making sure it understands how to use it. That's going to be an ongoing effort. It probably has worked most, but that's going to continue. I would say the two big things that are, a little further out, but we're definitely planning on working on. The first is more around charts, but actually I would say more stock charts and like quote charts. So technical analysis and indicators, and not just the fundamental charts that we have now. That is going to be quite a big feature, which I think will be very cool because a lot of users definitely enjoy our market charts. And then the second thing, which is going to be an array of features, is what's called thinking modes. So now already it's an agent that thinks, but we did prioritize that the first release is going to be relatively quick. So most of the answers are answered under 10 seconds. I think it's like 7 is the average right now. But if you are willing to wait, so we're going to give users a toggle once we start introducing this. And if you're willing to wait, 30 seconds to a minute, you're going to be getting much cooler, answers, all the way from just looping and making sure it has more context to all the way to like real deep research type. If you've seen on ChatGPT,
right.
Ask sub questions, and it'll be okay. The user said to compare this to that, or what's the outlook? But what he really needs me to answer is these 5 questions, and I'm going to go now answer that and summarize everything together. So it's going to be even, like a crazier type of research, which you will wait for a bit more, but and you don't want for every answer, right? So like, what's new with my watch list? You probably don't need that. But sometimes you'll be like, okay, I'm really going to buy the stock. Give me everything, and it's going to summarize everything it can.
Very cool, very interesting. The innovation never stops. Who would have thought 5 years ago that this is where we'd be? And it's even, scary to think where we could potentially be in 2030, 5 years from now. The way AI is kind of taken over. So yeah, very interesting times, both in the market and in technology. Wishing you guys all the best. Hopefully we can schedule another session. I know Yonatan's a busy guy, but
No
hopefully
problem.
we can get him on again. And I hope all the viewers took something out of this as well. Go out, try WarrenAI, see for yourself. And that's about it. May the trading guys be with you. Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.